Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. This is Spider Bite here. It's going to be what I'm going to call talk show number 41. Today is July 30th, 2006. Now, before you get too excited, or maybe before you get really excited, let me fill you in on a few details about today's show. Today I'm going to be talking a lot about the whole Ophidian scenario that's going on, and, preceded by the ENU stuff that was going on. I do not have a panel today, and let me explain why. The reasoning would be that, everybody that I invited onto my panel today gave me a really, really good reason as to why it wouldn't be a good idea for them to be on the show. They're actually at the Vesper or Papao dealing with the Ophidians, which was actually a great thing to hear. And when I say it's a great thing, I mean that. It is for those of you who can remember back to the Britain invasion, people got bored of that rather quickly. Within a few days, some shards let it just disappear. Others kept it going. And those were the ones who fought them back. The others let them disappear. For myself, on Siege Perilous, I don't even think anybody ever went to Britain to even look at the invasion. That's sort of why on my shard of Siege Perilous, they're sort of scampering around trying to find mystic weapons, because there were none salvaged back then. But this is the first invasion, and this is why I wanted to talk about this today. So you're sort of going to get a commentary show, but what I'd like to tell you how this is going to work. This is by no means a format I'm going forward with, just because I'm just doing this today for the mere fact that I don't want to pull people out of a game that we're actually talking about to talk about it, when they could be out there doing something while it's going on. Be a completely different story if it was all over. Then we could all go look back on it and discuss what was good, what was bad, blah, blah, blah. Today, the way I'd like this to work is that you're going to, if you're interested in or have a comment or a question about anything, write this down if you're just listening and you're not in the IRC chat with me. Of course, if you're in the IRC chat with us right now, just pop your questions out, and I'll try to keep an eye on it. I tend to walk around a bit during these things. So, basically what's going on is I want you to write down my ICQ number. And, I was just reminded by somebody that today is Sunday, not Saturday. Sort of losing track of the days. Anyways, if you have a pen and you're just listening, okay, my ICQ number is 6604-638. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever, you get a breather in game, if you're like me, running with your tail between your legs because these things ganged up on you and you're trying to get away as quickly as possible, and you get a breather from all that running around, drop me a message. Let me know what your question is or your comment. If I say something that's wrong, let me know. I'll correct myself right away. These shows are recorded and available for download for people who are away on the weekend, or, like I said, they don't even want to turn on their music right at the moment. They can listen to it tonight, tomorrow, whenever. So anyways, 6604-638 is my ICQ. Pop me a question or comment anytime during the show today. And if you want to interact with the other listeners, hear what they have to say, or share comments, or pop questions at me in the IRC chat, just go to UORadio.com, click on IRC chat. That is going to bring you right into our chat room. Or actually, it's going to give you instructions on how to get in. You can use a program like a lot of people have, MIRC or MERC as they call it. You can use that to connect. The instructions and the server addresses are on that page. You may also use something like Hydra IRC. And you can use the Java client chat, which just embeds one in your browser. So with that said, let me give you an idea what I've been doing, why I'm interested in this. For those who know me personally via UO, I've not been a big fan of these canned events since they started coming out. Not even close. The Britain Invasion's a good example. I had absolutely zero interest in it. Prior to that invasion, of course, the EM events led up to it, versus right now, the events are leading up to the EM events, or they're going to intermix or something along that line. We won't know until the EMs start launching these for us. But I had zero interest in these. So this time around, my guild decided to go check it out. As soon as the first day that we got the publish, and they started invading, and that you could no longer gate or recall in, and I found it absolutely 10 times better than what was presented to us this last time around. So, and I think that was because of Draconi's involvement since the last one, because he's been hinting for a long time now about something really cool coming, and I think he's actually it's paid off this time, or he's actually lived up to his word, because for you those out there right now, okay, I want you to give me an idea. How many of you have been doing this? Are you out there playing with the Berserkers right now? Has your shard been able to spawn them? Where are you at on your shard? Make sure you say your shard on there too. And I am making notes of your questions here while I kind of do my little intro this morning, and give you a little background as to why I'm interested in this. So don't worry, I'm not missing them. I'm actually gotta love PCs. Come a long way in the last 20 years. I just copy and paste this stuff as it comes in. So with that said, what I'd like you guys to do who are listening is shoot me an ICQ, or if you're in the IRC chat, let me know, first of all, what shard you're playing on, and what kind of progress are you guys making? Have you launched the Berserkers yet, or spawned them? I asked that question because I've been doing research on this ever since the first night of the invasion. I've been not just playing on my own shard with these things, but I've gone over to about 3 or 4 other shards. I wanted to check out the most populated shards and the least populated shards. And this was something that I brought up on a thread that was on another forum, actually, and I'm going to give you a bunch of URLs today. In the IRC chat. I'll probably post them in the news tomorrow, or in my personal forum, so you can find them tomorrow too. Because there are several forums where people are getting together to figure that out, and that's what I've been doing this time around. I never was a member of the Scooby Club Buddies, which what I call them, or actually I didn't come up with that. That was Lurin in Hand of Sonoma, who is also a Stratix moderator. That was his nickname for these people who they love to go around and solve all these puzzles for these events. Rather than doing the monster bashing part of it, they go around and solve all the puzzles. For example, Sarah Swift, although she does the PVM thing too, goes and helped with the whole Inu thing, collecting all the data and putting it together in one spot. So I've been doing all this research on all this stuff. I wanted to figure out how this thing ticks. And I found that, first of all, the monster AI is absolutely amazing compared to the Britain Invasion. Yes, it has a lot to be desired, but these things call to each other, I've noticed. If you're fighting one, and there's others nearby, so far I've clocked it at about a 5-tile, maybe 6-tile radius. They will stop what they're doing, turn around. They're not even flagged on you. They come to their, whatever you want to call it, their teammate, I guess, aid. So it's easy to get ganked by these things, as I've learned the hard way. So while we're looking in this, there's several things we're going to address, and the first thing I wanted everybody to know, again, I want to know how your shard's progressing, because, okay, I'm going to start with my own home shard, Siege Perilous. It's been kind of an uphill battle, because the only drawback I've found so far on this whole event scenario in the mechanics of it, not in the story or anything like that. Kudos to the whole thing on the story and everything, and I'm going to get to that a little later. Is the fact that it's not scalable for the shard populations. So, you have a few production shards, and then you have Siege, which carry, between 300 to 800 people on the shard, barely 1,000 maybe. The spawns are scaled are scaled the same way on every single shard. I've checked it out; they're all the same, and it's impossible to make that. There's a time frame in which you have to kill the generals in order to get the berserkers to spawn. And it is nearly impossible for these smaller population shards because, granted, 3 people could easily overwhelm these spawns. But you know what? These 300 people aren't on at the same time. Some people are on at night, some people are on in the morning, some people are on during the day, some people are in Europe and playing American shards, some people are in Japan and playing American shards, some people are in the US playing European shards. So, you have maybe anywhere from 50 to 500 people online on your shard, on these smaller populations, and you got maybe 40 to 100 of those that are actually interested in this thing. So, unlike, I went to the larger populations, and they're like locusts. They're all over this stuff. You can't even see the Ophidians, because they're engulfed in players wiping them down like lawnmowers. So of course the berserkers are launching right away. So that was my only thing with that. So that was what I've been doing all week. Also, I've been doing a lot of research on the websites, all of them, to see because I've been kind of inspired by the way everybody's working together this time. Not just on shards, because if you remember back to the Britain invasion, people from other shards didn't really work together back then. A matter of fact, I had to go to the other shard forums to find out that they'd already conquered the invasion before we were done. Before we'd even made a dent in ours, and we had no clue how. So, anyways, let me go back to the chats here, and into there, and we'll start out with some questions here. Yeah, there's a good one. Let me get these all lined up, and I'll get some of these out here, and we'll start tackling these. Okay, first of all, I'm going to answer the first one right off the bat. It's not really a question. It is a question. They're reintroducing the vanquishing tagged weapons. Or rather, it's vanquishing type weapons, because I guess the weapons you need to conquer the berserkers are mystic weapons, specifically. And these are dropped by the generals, if you didn't know. I don't know if that's new since the publish, because at first they weren't dropping these things. Maybe it was part of a time frame where they started doing it so that people were still trying to figure it out, and then a timer clicked off and they started dropping these mystic weapons, because I'm pretty sure they knew that these mystic weapons were being trashed because they weren't worth anything in PVM or PvP to anybody back in that day. Now they have a use, and nobody got the clues back then, so they're introducing these again. Now, these weapons have the same mods on them as our AOS weapons. What does that mean? Is that going to be is that something to do with trying to balance out stuff? Is it something to do with making people happy? Here you got your vanquishing? Or I know, like myself and a few other people who are very, very I don't want to use a negative term for this, are not friendly with the whole Age of AOS system, period. Does it mean that eventually weapons with mods the mods will vanish and all you'll have are vanquishing, mystic, magical, whatever you want to call them? Instead? Is it the first step, and they're using the scenario as a way to step into that? That's something that I would be interested in. That way you don't have to sit down with a calculator. You've got some kind of weapon that's going to be as good as, or better, or slightly worse than one, but you're guessing. And so is everybody else who grabs a vanquishing weapon or a mystic weapon. So I think that's what we're probably trying to address there. That comes from our own Viceroy over here on MMOG Radio, by the way. He plays on Chesapeake. And he's in the IRC chat here, by the way, with us today. I have a question for you, Vice. If you're paying attention in IRC, if you could drop me drop everybody a note. Have you been to the spawn over on Chessie, and how is it coming along there? Give me a hint here. Yeah, the vanquishing is really getting me. I would love to see that, though. I think it would be great, because I know a lot of people aren't being ignored. If you were to proverbially walk down the street of UO, if you could, and ask people, what do you think of AOS? You know, other than the people that were born into it, you know, started playing the game after Age of Shadows, you know, most are gonna. I think that'd be a great way to how you could tell. How can you tell a vet from a non-vet? Well, anybody who goes, what's vanquishing? I saw that at a museum over on Pacific once. That's how you could tell a vet from a non-vet. I would like that, though, to see those old tags put on, masking the mods, and then bring back the item ID skill, item identification. If you really, really, really have to know what those modifications are of the weapon, or what the bonuses are on them, if you want to know if it has any swing speed increase, or damage increase, or anything like that, you got to go find your friendly crafter who has item identification on him. Perhaps if we can get that proficiency system put in, that could also be you use a slot or two in order to be able to identify what the weapons. Then you have a slight advantage. But you have to give up something to do it. You're either giving up a skill slot, or a proficiency slot, or both, in order to do it. That way people aren't running around, you know, with a calculator, with their UO calculator, coming in your next expansion box free with your pre-order. No, I'm kidding. But yes, the generals are dropping this. So, the next thing I think we need to address is, along with these weapons that they're dropping, and in their native language, in the Ophidians' language, are they dropping hints we're supposed to be listening to? This goes back to our Scooby Club discussion here. So for those of you listening, you know, feel free to pop me an ICQ if you have any clue or you figured something out. Because I do know that there's a lot of people out there that are really grasping this whole scenario a lot more than I am, regardless of the research I'm doing, or trying to do. Because a lot of my research is coming from websites and other players from different shards, and of course you get mixed information. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, please do not think of me as an expert. I'm just kind of out there getting all your feedback. Consider you all my guinea pigs as I try to research this whole thing. The very first event that I'm putting 100% of myself into for once. And maybe we can all learn something today. But Flutter over of the lostlands.com, she was able to pick out a clue out of the last tale alone that was up on the UO.com board earlier this week, or last week. And basically what it told of, it was Liane, or Liani. We need to put a pronunciation guide up like we used to have in the old days for these legends' names. But yeah, she picked up on it right away, and I missed it. I read the thing 3 times. I missed it that she was holding a mystic axe in her hand. But she had to go into game to go find this out herself. And that's how, you know, as soon as the word spread, she had a mystic axe, and there was a dead berserker body next to her. It's the clues like that we're looking for. So, on top of that, somebody here's asking, what other clues are we missing that would help us here? You know, are we missing these clues that are being spoken by the Ophidians? Because they do say stuff to us. Did you notice that? A lot of them are reminiscent of the Orcish or the Ratmen, especially the Ratmen. You know, you hit a Ratman and, you know, he laughs at you or whatever about how you're not hitting him very hard. I get that a lot, and I got that a lot on the Ophidians, especially when I put myself up against an enforcer. And but I think that's the next step here would be to start writing some of these messages down. Has anybody done that over here in the RC chat, by the way? Yes, Lady Tiger, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to the loot. I know that's what a lot of people are interested in. Who cares what the heck they're saying? Who cares what they're doing? What's the loot? Yeah, orcs. Well, gargoyles and wisps. Okay. I don't think anybody knows what they say. I know somebody came on to something with wisps some years ago, which was really interesting, but I think that's the next step, and that's a note I'm going to take for myself in my own little endeavors into this fun scenario, and that is to start writing down or collecting from my journal what exactly the Ophidians are saying, and kind of dialogue it. Other than, you didn't hit me so hard. I get that a lot, like I said, especially with the enforcers. So, okay, yeah, we did have the wisp clue a while back, but that never went anywhere, did it? Did they even open? They didn't even open that dungeon yet, did they? That's probably something upcoming. The way they have it hidden in the cave like that, like almost like the pirate cave was last year or year before. I guess it was the year before. Could even be 3 years ago. That looked to me like it was dressed up like a potential EM event. So I'm not going to hold my breath yet for that until our EMs get back, which should be soon, I would hope. So, what do we know so far, by the way, as far as the spawns go? I'll tell you what I found out from all these different ones. Talking to somebody in another, he sent me a PM here quick. You're going to help out with sending some messages over, or from other channels and other avenues for me, which I appreciate out there. Any way they can get these questions in. So, what do we know about the invasion so far? I wanted to talk about the spawns first. Let's just get into the nitty-gritty, the stuff that we deal with right now. The Scooby Club is on the sidelines for the moment, so to speak, okay? You guys have your place in this whole scenario. Don't worry, you guys out there with the big brains. Let the boys with the muscle in. The boys and girls with the muscle through for a second here. Those of us that are out there killing and stuff like that. You guys earned your gold medals during Inu, and you'll have plenty of opportunities during the rest of this conversation as well as throughout the scenario. So for just a moment here, we're going to go. I want to go through the mechanics of the spawns right now. So far, the first thing I've seen from all of this, okay, we do have one comment here I want to touch on. It is, could it be possible that the EMs and the EA developers working together in collaboration now? I was personally under the impression that was always the case. I mean, I know for a fact that the EMs and the GMs work together, but in order to get their storylines, that comes from the developers. Okay, now again, I'm no expert. I have friends who are EMs, I have friends who are GMs, blah, who doesn't, it's played for 10 years. They can't really tell you details, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But I was under the impression that they do work together. I think all three teams work together, to be honest. Not 24/7, but I think they get handed a storyline. The EMs come up with what's the word I'm looking for? Some fiction or some role-playing fiction suitable for their own shard and their own personality. And then they put it together. That's why every single event on every single shard is just either slightly or really very different from another shards, because the EMs have their own personalities, their own style, and they know their player base if they've been on that shard for a while. They know what those players like to do, and they know how to fit the storyline into it. So to answer that question, not to answer it, to address it, from my opinion, I think they've always worked together. That came from the IRC. For those just tuning in, I'm going to just re-emphasize one more time. if you want to participate here, if you have a question or a comment and you're not in our chat room, feel free to ICQ me, 6604-638. And if you would like to converse with the rest of us in the chat room, you can go to a number of the Ultima Online chat rooms on the Stratix network. And they will, there are various people in the different channels taking questions and passing them off to me. Easiest route, of course, just jump into the UORadio chat room, and you can do that by going to UORadio.com, click on IRC chat. That'll give you the addresses for the servers for all the Stratix servers, and get you in here with us in the radio. The instructions are in there for all the clients as well as the Java chat. Okay, so with that out of the way, I just want to catch the people who might have tuned in a little bit late when I said that at the top of the show. Also, for those who are tuning in, typically we have a panel set up. The panel that I invited in today, every single person right down the line gave me an excuse that did not disappoint me because I was very excited to hear it. It was, we're actually in-game trading to fight the Ophidians, which is great to hear. I have no problem with that. That's much better than, oh, my mom's sick, I can't make it, my microphone's broke. None of this stuff. This is good, because we're talking about a scenario. And to be actually in the scenario is great. So if you're in it and you get a breather, shoot me an ICQ. Tell me how your shard's doing. Remember to mention your shard name, because I want to keep everybody updated. I think all the shards are working together this time. So, yes. Tiger, you're saying... Vice Chair goes, what are we making of that girl that's dying? Well, she was holding an axe. And next to her was a berserker. The axe is mystic. That was the clue that you need a mystic weapon in order to do any kind of damage to these berserkers. Which, when I went over to the Great Lakes Shard, because we weren't able to spawn the berserkers on Siege Perilous. Well, I guess they got one or two spawned, but then the spawn reset again. Again, that goes back to my concern about the spawns not being, I don't know, scaled for each shard population. But regardless, I went over to Great Lakes to see how they were doing. And they had managed to get them spawned pretty quick as soon as, whenever the berserkers were live. And of course, I ran right up thinking, I have a Snake Slayer bow over on Great Lakes from years ago that I always loved. Fortified it all the way up to whatever the highest amount you can do it is. 255, I think it is. And I ran in, guns blazing, and saw a berserker and went, cool, now I'm going to see what these things got. I didn't get within 2 squares of that thing before he's standing right next to me, and I'm seeing in gray. And I looked up and all I saw was a little number go above the head that said 1. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So anyways, let me give you the link for those of you who have not read the story over on I almost said Origin. Wilkie, if you're listening, as maintainer of the website, that's something I never noticed in the last how many ever years it's been since EA took complete control over it. The title of the page is still Origin over on the UO website, just so you know. Anyways, I never noticed that till just now when I had that little slip up. Go here. I'm putting in the IRC chat for this link. I'm sure over in the other UO channels they can do the same thing. It's a link right off the UO.com webpage. And this is for the latest story, which is Alone. And this is where a lot of the clues are hiding that have been cropping up lately, the last couple of days. But, let me look down through here. Yes, that's another good one. There's a new runic symbol on the UO.com homepage as well. Also, there was a new... I told you I have all these websites that I've been researching off of. Let me give you the names of these websites so you guys can go check them out on your own time, or those of you who are going to be listening to this and downloading it later. First of all, of course, on Stratix. And yes, I know I'm going to catch... I know I can think right away of a couple of administrators, a few mods, and a few of my own peers that are never going to let me live it down. But I am doing a lot of research and seeing what people are saying as they share information on U-Haul, okay? I said it. Now I still start popping up, and all it'll say is LOL. They'll probably send my LOL cat at me, and just to spite me. Yes, I use the U-Haul a lot because a lot of people are like magnets to that when they have new information or they have questions. So I had to start there. So everybody knows where that's at. You just go to the Stratix network, Stratix.com, and then go to the forums on Stratix, and U-Haul's under the general section. What I would also suggest is if you have a single shard you play, if you haven't been to your shard forums before, go there, because there's going to be specific information there, like which guilds are working together. On Siege, for example, we have several guilds who are working together. We have other guilds, like my own, that are kind of trying to make it more difficult for other people to accomplish the scenario, while also trying to work it as well. We're not being completely anti-productive. But in a role-play sense, it would only make sense that we would assist in the evil that's going on in Vesper. Anyways, moving forward. The next site that I was using is, of course, the UO.com website. And that's where these stories are being posted. So, if you... And I will tell you this firsthand because this is probably the reason the Brit invasion completely lost me. Is because I didn't read any of the clues or any of the information. Somebody just said, there'll be monsters here, and I just went in. And I would kill lizardmen all day long. And I had no idea what was going on. Our own EM couldn't even explain it to me. I begged her to it. She's like, if you can't figure this out, she's like, I don't know why I'm not spawning stuff on you right now. So, yeah, that's another thing. Don't go to your EM when she's helping you, when she's, I shouldn't say helping, when she's killing you, or he's killing you, whoever your EM is on your shard, during EM events. They're not going to be in a position to help you with these quests. You've got to go out and do your own homework, okay? I would also leave the developers alone. Draconi is a good example. I've seen him on a few, making appearances on a few of the sites that I was researching, teasing us, which is good. I know he's getting a kick out of this. I really do. And for those just tuning in, I did it earlier in the show in my intro. Thumbs up, man. Like I said, the Brit invasion, in my opinion, was a thumbs down. Not a lot of depth. Nobody knew what was going on or why they were doing it. This one is fun, and you've been saying for months now, longer I think, that it's to expect something really, really big and exciting, and you pulled through. Because I know a lot of this was your baby, especially a lot of the fiction and stuff like that. So, good job. Anyways, so the next site I said was the UO.com website. Check that out. Okay. Now that was just cruel. Yeah, we had a quick guest appearance. Yes, so Draconi's writing a lot of this fiction, and I'm sure he had no problem understanding that I'd appreciate it, because I've written so much UO fiction in my career, it's unbelievable. If you guys ever want to read some good stuff, go over to the... Jesus, my favorite website. It was from my favorite website, and I can't even remember the name. The White Stag Inn over on Stratix is where all of us UO fiction writers like to hang out and share our UO stories that are originals. Anyways, I appreciate the stories because he's doing a good job with that, and it's making it really good. I've been reading them over and over and over again for clues. So on UO.com, you're going to see the updates, and the most latest story will always be at the top. So let's keep that in mind, and be sure to check it out. Now these links I'm giving you, there's good information on all of them, and it's all different. So if you're really, really into this and really want to learn how the scenario is working, what other people are finding out, make sure you visit all of them, okay, as I give you the links throughout the show here. The last one I'm going to give you right now, I'll give you some more links later, is a relatively new site, okay? This is what I was telling you. I mentioned Flutter, who figured out the whole mystic weapon thing. This is all over on thelostlands.com. and I'll give you guys a link in the IRC chat here. Yeah, you found it. Viceroy, there you go. TheLostLands.com. It's a general UO forum, or UO style forum, and they have one area that's called shard-wide story arcs. Now this has everything to do with anything in the storyline, and this is users come in and post what they've come across, what they've experienced, and that sort of thing. Another section that I used for my research was the town crier. It's the very first one at the top. That's where news is brought off of the UO.com website. Like I said in the past, the UO.com website is very underutilized, so a lot of people don't even think to hit that unless they see a link to it from another website. So if you're not a Stratix reader, go over to TheLostLands.com. We are also going to be updating the news as well, especially regarding this scenario, over on UORadio.com's forums too. So you have several links there to start with. And those are some of them I use the most for trying to figure out what's going on. So let's get back to some of the questions here. We're talking about the mechanics now. Does everybody I think everybody here will understand that these do work like a champ spawn. Not exactly. Not even close to exact. But the science of them is like a champ spawn. You have to beat so many monsters in a certain period of time in order to make the boss monsters come up, or for the difficulty to raise. Now some people have been noticing in these spawns that the initial spawns are getting weaker and weaker. Not necessarily the numbers, but their resists, how hard they're hitting, that sort of thing. Now I haven't been able to confirm that myself. Last night I was trying to do it over on Europa, was the shard I was on, and I was on a fisherman, so I wasn't very effective. I was more like I was running around, just kind of taking notes at how their group was doing. And I didn't see a difference. The people who were able to kill them were killing them just as hard as they were 2 nights ago when I was on Europa. On Siege, we're barely making a dent. We're keeping them at the minor spawn at bay, the recruits, the general, the whole first phase of it. We're keeping them at bay, but we're not making enough of a dent. There's not enough people or enough firepower like there are in some of the large production shards. I noticed the same problem over on, I think it's Origin Shard. So, and the test center, of course, is overrun. They're not doing anything because they don't care. Pardon me while I get a drink. Okay. So the mechanics work like a champ spawn. What you got to do is you got to kill all the generals in a certain amount of time, and then the berserkers spawn. Berserkers, it's been determined, while they can be killed by other conventional means, it's very difficult to do. And they are dropping major artifacts that are cursed, which is another good thing we need to discuss. Cursed artifacts. Can do it again. Big thumbs up. Big thumbs up on that one. Yeah. Okay, there's somebody in here in the IRC chat is bringing up the fact that we still have a spawn to deal with down in the sewers of Britain. But before we get to that, let me go back to this. The Berserkers dropping these Marties. The major Arties. Not the minors. The major. But they're cursed. Now, for those of you who don't go back in the day, don't understand what cursed is. Cursed is, well, no, this isn't even an old thing. This is just a term, and this time around what the term means is, since now insurance exists, you can't insure these or bless them. Like I said, thumbs up. Because we're not introducing gear into the game that can't be lost. Or hopefully decay, too. Because I don't know if you can repair a cursed item. Has anybody tried to repair a cursed item? I'm going to throw that out there to somebody. Anybody who's been paying attention. Has anybody tried to repair a cursed item? We know they're not insurable. We know they're not blessable. Are they repairable? If anybody's got one, go try it for me. Anyways, while we're waiting for somebody to figure that out, that's something we need to put on the list of stuff to figure out, or at least I'll try it when I get in game today. Repair cursed items. Because that's one great step. That's toning down. Now, of course, we got stuff in the game that'll never go away, unfortunately. Slip. I got Slip in here going, cursed weapons are boring. Cursed weapons are awesome. Cursed weapons mean that when I kill you, Slip, and I dry loot you, I can take your cursed weapon. It drops to your body. I get to have it. Me. You don't get to. I don't get your stupid 300 gold from your insurance, and you get to go home happily with your weapon. I get to keep it. And then the person who kills me gets to keep it. But yes, I am too. Viceroy brings up a thing. I'm opposed to the repairing of cursed items, so that's why I want to know, are they repairable? If they're not, that's awesome. People are either going to spend time wasting fortification powder on them, or they're going to lose them to decay. Non-persistent artifacts. Good idea. I wish it was done, how many ever years ago artifacts were brought into the game, but it's never too late, I suppose. So with that said, oh, Sonic, did you try it? Yes, we got the answer. No repair on cursed items. Okay, now I'm extremely impressed. Extremely impressed. I like this. Okay, so we've got artifacts coming into the game now, majors and true artifacts. They are not, for those of you, just to catch you up, not blessable, not insurable, and not repairable. Meaning they will go away. They are not going to vanish into the system and remain forever anymore. Unlike the current ones we have. It's a shame we can't do that to all of them. Like people that bring these artifacts in, or they fight in the artifacts that they're wearing, head to toe right now, immediately they become cursed if they either hit an Ophidian Berserker with one, or they get hit, their armor becomes cursed. Can you imagine what an item sink that would be? Everybody losing stuff right and left. Now, I got in trouble for saying it yesterday, so I'm going to try not to say it in such a. I said it in a rather humorous way that got me in trouble yesterday, and I guess I should have been a little more sensitive, but I would like to see that. Have these scenarios once a year, or twice a year, or do them all year long. That would be even better. Where things are able to lose their invulnerability, so to speak. You walk in with the Hat of the Magi that's blessed or insured, and an Ophidian Berserker comes up, and you chose to fight a Berserker in that hat, and it hits you, it becomes cursed. And if you die, it falls on your body and decays, taking yet another overpowered item out of the game. Now, you have to sit at home, go through your gear, and determine, I'm going to go fight Ophidians today. Is this worth it to take out? Or should I just put something else on to fight them? And that way, you're not losing insurance, you're not losing your items, because if you want to go out and PvP that night, or go fight a champ spawn down in wherever, in Lost Lands or whatever, go do Oaks or something, wear your Hat of the Magi, or whatever powerful. I don't own too many artifacts, you can tell, so I don't know the names of all of them. I just know it hurts when I get hit by them, by other players. So yeah, no, I know people are going to say, no, don't do it, I don't want to risk it. Well, then don't take it with you to fight Ophidians. See, I know it won't happen. And the only reason I brought it up is because yesterday somebody said, when I got killed by an Ophidian Berserker, all my stuff fell onto my body. And of course I replied instinctually, laughing, going, that's the way it should have been. That's the way it should have always been, no matter how you died. So, my apologies goes out to that person right away. I didn't mean to be so insensitive, but regardless, I did mean what I said. Just not the way I said it. I think, I agree. I don't think vet rewards, stuff like that should become cursed, of course. That's a display of, your years of paying into the system. But this armor, the stuff that people are paying $600-700 for on eBay for suits of armor and stuff like that, they're paying 250 million gold or whatever silly amount it is for a war fork. Yes, I've seen something on an auction over on UORadio.com. There's somebody, I think it's on Great Lakes, has a war fork, and it's already bid up to 250 million gold. That's craziness. Craziness. I say you take that war fork in to fight an Ophidian berserker. You hit him with it. Cursed. Falls to your body if you die. Anyways, Tiger. Oh, thank you. Okay, you got it. Never mind. Yes, and Sonic over here in the RC chat saying the same thing. Lose your items just like the old days. But let's give a little bit of a leeway here. I know we have people listening over in Redwood City, and we have people all in the different player shards, whether they play Trammel, Feluca, Siege Perilous, Mugen, whatever. This is, I think, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people could agree on it, just for this event, or just in general, if you go fight a certain scenario event monster, something like this, I think there should always be something in the game that can cause this to happen. This is a happy medium for those who refuse to lose their stuff, and those who think everybody should lose their stuff. There shouldn't be any insurance or whatever, blessings. This is a happy medium, because now, those who don't want to lose their, $300-400 or 250 million gold outfits or weapons, you just don't wear them to fight a certain spawn. It's just common sense. You don't go, and then you won't lose your stuff. If you feel you're that dependent that you can't fight without it, then it's gonna be, you're risking it being cursed, and if you die, you lose your thing. So, okay, finally moving on to the mechanics of it before we get on to another subject here. I'm going to go through the IRC real quick here and check to make sure I did not miss any questions here. Okay, we did go cover the cursed items. Not blessable, not insurable, and not repairable. They will disappear one day, whether I take them from you or DK does. Either way. Looking through here one more time. Okay, the looting system is in question here, and I'll give you guys a link if you want to read some of the discussions that are going on about that right now. Where'd it go? Then I want to talk about the cities this is happening in, because that's big too. While I'm looking for this, the question is who gets the looting rights on these berserkers? From everybody's experience over here in the IRC chat, or who's on ICQ, drop me a note. Let me know. Just because I want to know what is the what's the situation on those. Okay, I got an ICQ coming in here. Okay, we're looking at if you fight Verite or Valorite, Earth Elementals, they can destroy anywhere. That's good to know. I'm going to ask this person over in ICQ here. Let me tell you what they asked, or what it's a comment actually. They're asking me if I knew this. I did not know this, to be honest. I think I've only been on one of these little excursions 3 or 4 times, just escorting new players. If you fight Verite or Valorite, Earth Elementals, they can destroy any item, even major artifacts. So I'm going to I take that one step further. Even if they're insured, can they destroy them? Because I don't think. I would think that. I was under the impression insured stuff was. That's the whole reason I only have a problem with insurance. Insurance is a sure thing. I think insurance should be like car insurance. You can go total your car up, even if it's not your fault. There's there's a small chance your insurance company will not pay for it. That's my opinion. I think insurance in games should be like that. I think you're paying 600 gold for each item for the chance that you might keep it. Not guaranteed. A chance. I think every item in games should be like that. Oh, okay. Yes, okay, so this was before insurance. I do recall something like that. There were other monsters that could do that too. Yeah. Okay. Okay, it's destroyed then, yeah. It's sort of like if your body blows up during a champ spawn. I can't remember which champ. Oh, during the Harrower. I know that's the way it is on Siege, because we don't have insurance on Siege. But, it's pretty much, it's like, oops, you were a victim of the odds, your stuff is gone. Accept it and move on. I think that should be a great system, I think. So, I'll toss that out to anybody who's listening out there, or if you know somebody who's got some sort of say over at EA or in the developer team. Because I'm not going to poo-poo on insurance anymore. I learned my lesson about it. It makes people angry and makes people sad, and they cry in real life, and I'm tired of making people cry, so I'm not going to say wipe insurance anymore. What I'm going to do is suggest alternatives that everybody can live with, and this, I think, should be one of them. Let us say that there is a chance that an item can be destroyed during a fight, whether it's a fight with a monster, with another player, like the old Valorite stuff. That's just a suggestion. That way, insurance is not a sure thing, which is what upsets everybody, upsets crafters and stuff like that. So, but we're not on that insurance binge today. We want to get back on to the topic I started talking about, which was the loot drops on the Berserkers. People are having a hard time with these. They're really not understanding what's going on with the loot drops. There are all kinds of people coming out, and I have not yet seen anything consistent. Now, keep in mind, I have not yet killed a Berserker. So, like I said earlier, I'm on Siege most of the time, and on Siege, we're not able to spawn the Berserkers in the first place. That's our fault, because we're too busy either killing each other, or there just aren't enough on at the right time to do it. So, with that, I will apologize right away. I don't have any experience killing a Berserker. I do have experience watching people kill Berserkers on other shards, though. And I've talked to people who are fighting them, and one person, or a bunch of people that I've talked to, have said, flat out, I got the last hit, and I got the loot. Now, from what I recall, that's old school looting rights. And it was a cause of a lot of concern, because people did not like that they'd spent, however long it took to kill this monster, and somebody stealths in, hits him with a dagger, and walks off with everything. Now, I liked it because I was one of those people that stealthed in with the dagger and walked off with everything. But as you can kind of see a pattern there, type of character that I typically play. But people didn't like that. They didn't seem fair, and then eventually, of course, like anything that takes away, that seems unfair, it's called griefing. So, sort of like stealing pieces off the checkerboard, or whatever you want to say, when you're playing checkers while they're not looking. Now on the other hand, I've heard people say, now this was something that the gal I mentioned earlier from the lostlands.com said, she figured out that every time she used a mystic weapon, whether she was the first hit, the middle hit, or the last hit that killed the thing, she got looting rights. So I don't know if that's the end-all to it. You must have a mystic weapon, and you're the one who gets it. Or if everyone using a mystic weapon on it gets rights. Or if it's just dumb luck. Another thing to think of is, spells or special moves that tick damage. If, for example, I don't know if these things are susceptible to poison or not, but let's say I come in with my poisoner, which can inflict lethal poisoning. If I hit an Ophidian with lethal poisoning, it ticks the damage all the way through until while these people are beating on it, and my tick of damage from my poison kills it while I'm 5 screens away, is Marty going to land in my pack? So those are things we got to figure out too. So why don't we go to the IRC chat here, and those of you who have fought Berserkers so far, have you seen any patterns? Yeah, my comment about stealthing in Deadeye, Spider Bite the Stealth Weasel. You'd know firsthand, Deadeye, from years ago. Has anybody who's come up against a Berserker seen a pattern similar to what I've discussed? Because this is something that I've read on various forums. Everybody's got a different story as to how the looting rights are working. Personally, I'm thinking it's sour grapes on a lot of these stories. They thought they did the most damage, they actually didn't, or somebody else was hitting with a mystic weapon and they don't have one. That's just an idea, though. I'm not saying that's what's going on. So let's get some feedback here. Send me an ICQ. Tell me in the IRC chat what you think the problem is, because right now that's the only concern I'm seeing with this the current stage of the event, is that people are a little upset that they're not getting anything when they're either killing the monster or they're doing the most damage. So I think that would be the next mystery to solve. How do you get, well, like I said earlier, for all you people who are the item dependent people, how do you get more loot? I know the loot is important. Get another question in here. Yeah. Okay. There's a good point too. Let's keep that in mind. Add this in here real quick. Okay. Yes, exactly. Okay, there's a good point. I've just got an ICQ from Tiger here, who is saying that you can be going to town on these things, and many of the times the damage you're doing does not show up. I had that on a general happen to me. It was a general, I think. I could not see what damage I was doing to it other than the health bar. And I would be sitting there hitting it, and it's hitting me for, well, didn't help that, again, like I said, I think this was Europa last night, rather than, the night before. No, the night before I was on Siege. Yeah, I was on Siege, I'm sorry. Okay. On Siege I was on a Paladin with a Soul Seeker, and I was using Enemy of One, and I think I saw a flicker of red in their health bar. So, that was, you can go to town on it for forever and never make a dent on them, but you don't know what you're doing unless you're watching the health bar. You got to watch the health bars. Okay, now the looting rights wise, I got to loot everything, but again, I haven't hit a Berserker, and that's where the concern is right now, because that's where the arties are at. People want the artifacts. So, yeah, I was seeing 250 gold, some hides, maybe a bandage, maybe some potions. I was never doing much of the big stuff. I usually threw that stuff on the ground for everybody else. Okay. So we got the Berserkers, the looting out of the way. Okay, Tion here, over in the IRC chat, brings up one good point. Or actually reminded me of something. And this is good. This would almost be advice to you people out there that are fighting together. This is more going to be like a strategy for us who are fighting, you who are fighting the Ophidians. This is only a Siege Perilous thing. By the way, if you guys don't know, they dropped the guard zones in Vesper for us for this event, which means we can come in and fight anybody who's fighting the spawn, which is just great. Love it. Special love for Siege. We appreciate it. Anyways, some advice for you people. If you see people standing outside the healer shop waiting for a res, give it to them. There's a reason they're standing there. And that the reason that is that there are probably a bunch of Ophidians inside the healer shop buying more bandages or whatever they're doing in there. I don't know if that was intentional, or if people are luring them in there, or if they're actually attacking the yellow NPCs. So if you see somebody outside the healing shop as a ghost, res them. They're not being lazy. They're not wanting to go in and get a res from their healers. They can't go in to get a res from the healers because they will be res killed by the spawn. So that was a tip that I also picked up on some of the posts. People are getting a little bit angry that people were just ignoring them while they're standing there waiting for a res. Help your community out, especially if you're on one of the production charts, because you're on Trammel. Remember that. This isn't a slight at Trammel. This is just explaining. You're in Trammel. This event is not in Feluca, so you're not going to get killed. Help each other out. You guys are a team when you're on the production charts. Okay. It's not like I can't use my own chart as an example because we got some people that are fighting others. We got some people fighting the spawn. Some people are working together. But I'm in production charts. You guys are working together, so it doesn't matter if it's somebody you don't even know, and 90% of people are going to be there. You're not going to know them because the populations are so large. Help them out. Give them a hand. Give them a res. You see a ghost? Give them a res. On Siege, before we realized that there were no guard zones, everybody was working together. I had a guy come up to me. I was down to about 1/4 health on my paladin, and he just started cross-healing me. He just stood there and cross-healed. And we put up a force field, energy field, if I was getting too low and I needed to heal up myself, so I could back off a little bit. And I just looked at him and I recognized the name, and this guy was a new player. That's the reason. That's why he was only able to cast regular heals on me. And I just kind of, as soon as this, I was fighting a captain, I think it was. That's what they're called, a captain, yeah. And I walked away from him, and he follows me over, and I go, "Thanks for the heals." I don't understand why though. He's like, and he just said, "No problem. We're just all helping each other tonight." And I went, "But I killed you yesterday. Didn't I kill you 3 times yesterday? Mercilessly, I might add." And I dry looted him twice of the 3 times. And this is what we were doing. Everybody, because the guard zones were, we thought the guard zones were still up. There was no point in fighting each other, so everybody was helping each other, and that's what this event is. That's what you need to do. So on the production charts, we're all together. Don't ignore the ghosts. Go res them. Trust me. That could be the person who could be walking up to you and giving you that greater heal just as you were about to buy it as a berserker's coming after you. So keep that in mind. That is just a little bit of a moral lesson. That's a little bit of a moral lesson coming from a obnoxious PK over on Siege Perilous. Yeah, has hell frozen over yet? Okay. Anyways. Okay, moving on. That was I'm glad somebody mentioned that, by the way, because that's really important. I saw a lot of posts on many forums in the last few days, especially in the Shard forums. People are getting angry. They're going to the forums saying, WTF, how come you didn't heal me? And the other person would come right back and say, you were lazy, you're standing right next to the healer shop. There were like 4 Ophidians sitting in the healer shop. He could not go in for a heal. So remember that. They're not being lazy. Don't rely on your own guild. And don't be afraid to run up to somebody you can see needs help. Pull as many health bars as you can. After that kid rezzed me, I call him a kid because he's a young player, healed me rather, instead of fighting them, since I couldn't do much damage to the monsters, I ran around rezzing and healing people for most of the night. Until we realized the guard zones are down. Then it was a free-for-all. Okay. Now, here, Edge brings up a good point right now. This is a good event because this is not really a mage event. And I think they're realizing that. Okay, that was a good point, and that was something that somebody else brought up in ICQ that I didn't quite understand the wording of it, but I just got reminded with another message. It's the physical damage on the berserkers that does not appear. So even if you think you're not seeing the numbers appear above their head, you may be doing damage to them, so don't stop hitting them. On the other side of the coin, you don't know if you're hitting them for 1 point a pop either. And you may be sitting there a very, very long time. Let me see if I can get something clarified here by anybody who can answer this question. Do the health bars reflect any damage to the berserkers? That would be something that I would like to know. Is there any way to determine if you're hitting them or how far you've got them down? While I wait for somebody to come up with an answer out there listening, I want to go back and touch this. This is not a mage event, for once, which is kind of a good thing. Nothing against mages at all, okay? But everybody will admit... Okay, good. I just got word from one person who's fought the berserkers. Said the health bars do reflect the damage, but it's the numbers above the head that do not. So keep that in mind. When you're fighting a berserker, don't count on that little numbers popping up above their head. Okay? I noticed numbers when I was I wasn't hitting berserker, though, so... Shoot, I wish I could... I think I'm going to have to run into a suicide to test this out, but like I said, I was carrying a Soul Seek, which is 100% cold damage, so I'm wondering if that will pop numbers up when I hit. But yes, we got a number of people here in the IRC chat who are kind of saying, yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to play warriors in these events now, because it was really difficult to do it before. Basically, all we had to do was sit back and watch the tamers and mages clear out the event, and I'm going to take a wild stab and say that, whatever devs worked on this together. I know Draconi's doing a lot of the fiction for it, and that sort of thing. I don't know who else is really directly involved, but I got a slight suspicion that they might have said, hey, okay, it's time to give the muscle a chance to play for once, instead of playing cleanup all the time. I know when I did play participate in the Britain attack. Basically, at the end of the day, all I could do is give people more supplies and heal. Maybe I could pull off one of their generals and chomp on it for a little ways. But down the road, I had to go run into a pack of EVs and let them take it out from whatever mage was nearby. So, I think that's a good thing. So yeah, this is actually giving the warriors a chance to play around. And now the pets. That's another thing I wanted to address, because I have not seen this yet. For those people on shards where the berserkers are spawning, what are the pets doing against them? Anything? The pets obviously can't pick up a mystic axe and take chunks out of these berserkers. So what are they doing? Are they hitting... What are they doing differently than anybody else? Because these things got big hit points. Like 3 times, if not more, than what the rune beetles and the dogs and stuff have. So, we got another ICQ coming in. So yeah, what are pets doing? Anybody play a tamer out there right now that's listening? I'd like to know. What are the pets doing? Are they? I know they're great during the initial spawn. What my guild was doing is we would take 3 or 4 pets, get them up on one of the Vesper bridges, and then the pets would block us in, because we have no push through on Siege. And but we had pets on either side of us, because if there's Ophidians on one side of a bridge, there's going to be Ophidians on the other. And like I said early on the show, one thing I've noticed is they can almost call to each other when they flag. If they flag or you flag on them, miraculously from off the screen you see others start coming. Now, I don't know if that's coincidence. It could be my imagination, but it seemed pretty consistent to me. And it's not a bad thing. I think it's pretty cool. I wish all monster spawns act like that. You go into Distard, you pull a dragon away. That dragon's going to call for help if it's got 6 people beating on it, or it's being tamed. Of course it's going to scream across a cave, 12 tiles away and have its buddy, the Drake, come over and give it a hand. I think all spawns should be like that. Not some of this where they sit 5 tiles away acting stupid just because they're out of flagging distance from you. That's ridiculous. We need more of that. Okay, so good. Okay, we got one from Lady Tiger here in the RC. Dog on the Berserker didn't do any damage. And Room Beetle didn't do any damage. Yeah, okay, there's another good point. These are strategies that we're starting to get in here. I think we're getting into the strategy phase of this whole event right now. Or this whole, where the scenario's at this point. I've read that a lot myself. Who brought that one up? Edge, over here in the RC chat, says that the only way he was able to last more than 10 seconds was to joust with him. Very old tactic used on all kinds of monsters. Good one. That's typically always been I can't go toe-to-toe with anything. Never have been in the past, either. I'm a hit-and-run kind of guy. And so I don't do well in large spawns, for example. And I notice my withers do absolutely nothing to these things, no matter what level of the spawn we're on here, and with these Ophidians as well. So my Necro doesn't do much good either. Let's see here. What everybody else has got to say about that. Well, there's another thing. Is there much lag on your guys' shards? I'm curious about that as well. Because on ours, there's no lag at all. Well, again, there's not as many people in there doing this. I did notice it on Great Lakes, though. Great Lakes. Whew. Yeah, I almost didn't make a few runs through Vesper, only because, that lag hit me when I walked into a group that had like 40 people on the screen, not to mention the 20 Ophidians they had lured into the middle of town to fight. And it was like running through Luna at noon. I mean, come on. That's unreal. So, Tion has a good one that I was going to try tonight, actually. Here's another strategy, okay? Cursed Weapon. I'm assuming Mystic is what you need. Vamp Form. On my Necro, for example. And then you're not only doing damage, but you're also draining life, which saves you from having to heal, because for most Necros, healing is Spirit Speak, and that's a little tough to be healing on. And then Lady Tiger says Archer. Yep, I'm looking around for Ophidian Slayers right now to see if I can go do something. I'm getting word in that Lake Superior is getting huge lag spikes due to the scenario right now. Yeah, I'm a Necro Noxer Edge, so I don't think my poisoning's going to do much good, but I think that the Vamp Form idea with a Cursed Weapon might be the route to go. Okay, Edge, what chart are you on where that's happening? Because he's saying that every time a Berserker comes on his screen, the entire computer lags up. I don't know if that's shard specific or your computer. I haven't seen enough Berserkers up close to say whether it's affected me or not. Looking around for more here. Yes, I noticed that too, Tion. So those of you who are helping with the lower and the intermediate spawns, the Brood Queens are susceptible to Wither, and the Shaman Generals are immune to Wither, and the Brood Queens are really susceptible to Withers. So those of you who thought you were out of luck on the Necros out there, there's 2 pieces of strategy for you. Okay, so Sir Chaz here has also experienced lag when the berserkers come on the screen a little bit. For any of the developers out there listening, maybe make a little mental note, just in case. It is something. I know a lot of us play on computers that may not be brand new. I play on something that gets by. It's better. I'm not playing on anything less than, I have almost a 3 gigahertz processor, but I'm only playing on 512 megs of RAM, and I've only got a 64 megabyte video card, so. But again, I haven't been up against enough berserkers to actually clock it. Maybe tonight. I think I'm going to go back to Great Lakes tonight. No, I can't. I've got to go back to Siege, and try my necro out. Okay. I had my next topic up here that I wanted to discuss about this whole thing. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think it would fit. I mean, Viceroy wants my processor. Unless you taped it down to your motherboard, I don't think it's going to work. Okay. Now I wanted to sort of get into let's take some speculations on what's going to happen going forward with this scenario. Right now, we know what's going on. We have to fight the Ophidians. They work like a champ spawn. The generals are dropping mystic weapons for us to use against the berserkers. The berserkers are dropping cursed items, artifacts. Remember, we emphasized this before. For those of you who are insurance dependent or refuse to carry anything that you can't insure, sell them. Sell them. Because you can't insure them, you can't repair them, and you cannot bless them. So, keep that in mind before you go charging out with it to go PvPing later on that night. Because you will lose it. I also guarantee probably there's going to be a huge markdown in the price of those weapons, because there's a very huge difference between what somebody will pay for that they know they're never ever going to lose, and what they'll pay for if they realize, I'm not going to get this back if I die. That's one of the things that I can tell you firsthand why the economy is so much different on Siege Perilous, and why things are 1/3 to almost 2/3 less than on the production shards. Yeah, you can lock them down in your house. They make great decorations or party favors. Yeah, so what does everybody think is coming up in UO? I'm sorry, in UO, in the scenario in UO. If we beat them back, or we beat the berserkers in a certain amount of time, let's just say Vesper and Papau are saved. What's next? It was a while back, but Draconi made it very clear. I think it was Draconi. It might have been somebody else. I'm pretty sure it's Draconi. But stated that this event is going to be almost a year in length. Now, not necessarily the scenario we got going on right now, but as the big picture goes, it's going to be a year in length. So with that said, let's say let's think positively, and Vesper and Papau are saved. The Ophidians are chased out. My hope is that they go, like any other war, they pick a different strategic target. The Revolutionary War was like that. If they lost a battle at one place, they went off and they attacked another one. Somebody mentioned this morning on U-Haul, and I thought this was brilliant. Brilliant, because everybody knows I have the same emotion for the people that hang out in Luna as I do with the people who hang out on U-Hauls. But he goes, a tip for the Ophidians. What you want is in Luna. Go kill there. It was perfect. Because just like the Westbrit Bank, everybody used to get down on the bank sitters for hanging out at Westbrit Bank all day long. Well, now we got Luna, which is almost worse. You can't pick a better place to drop a spawn. I would just love to, and I've said this on many other shows, I'd get up early after server maintenance just to listen to the screams around the world as the people logged in thinking they were safe in Luna to log out there, and they were gray because of the insta-dead as soon as they logged in because of the Ophidians that were swarming around the bank. Would they go back to West Brit, do you think? I don't know. Maybe it's time to go check out the Cove Bank. Can you see 100 people stuffed into the little Cove Bank? Okay. Look at my notes here. Let me go back to some of these sites. And see what else I had on here while I'm looking. Yeah, let me give you a link. This was pretty funny. Here's what he said. He goes, "What you seek is in Luna. Go kill." Oh, that's just classic. That was that's a guy from my shard actually that said that. Yes, and on our shard on Siege, we definitely would love to see them go to Luna. At least those of us who don't hang out there and hug the guard zone there. Yeah, if you ever want to know how many people hang out at the how many blues there are in Siege, just go or how far the guard zone extends. This is something that another Siege person mentioned. He's like, if you ever wonder where exactly the guard zone ends in Luna, all you got to do is make a note of the tile immediately in front of the line of blue people standing there, of blue characters waiting for reds to show coming within range. It's pretty pathetic. You guys don't have to deal with that on your shards, but maybe you do over like in Moonglow or something like that on Felucca. Sir Jazz goes, maybe they'll hang out in Buck's Den. Okay, Tiger asks a good question. How do you get the mystic weapons to combat the berserkers? Okay. From what I understand, the way you get them is you either got one or a dozen of them. I don't know how many you personally all you got during the invasion of West Brit, or I've been told that you can also they drop off of the generals. Okay, so if you kill generals, and like I said, I didn't see that happening in the beginning. Now what I understand though is what somebody said, and I haven't confirmed this yet. Maybe somebody in the IRC chat or who's listening can confirm this for me. Somebody said that they can't just be mystic; they have to be cursed. I don't know if they're all cursed or what. I don't own one. That's why I'm running around with Ophidian Slayers right now. Yes, mystic weapons. How do you get them? Well, again, for those just tuning in, I'm no expert on any of this, but from what I've read about so far and talked to other players in game on various shards, the mystic weapons, you either already have one from the Brit invasion, or you kill the general and got one. So that you have two ways of getting it, or you can go out and buy them. They're selling like crazy. We're scrambling to find them on Siege because, like I said, there weren't a lot of people doing the Brit invasion. Not at least throughout the whole thing. So they're in very short supply. But on some of the production charts I went to check out the scenario, to see how the scenario was going, they're all over Luna on most of those, as you can expect. As soon as the players who have vendors realized, as word got out, you need a mystic weapon, you better believe they broke out those and started stocking their vendors with them. I kind of I thought I had one, but I have an old vanquishing weapon from years ago, and so that isn't going to work. Alright, so, by the way, if you're just tuning in, we got about 15-30 minutes left, depending on how it goes here. I mean, we just about covered all the subjects I wanted to cover today. I do have some announcements to make later on, so I don't want to take up the entire half hour with this, because what I've been doing is I've got a bunch of these notes, and what I'm going to do is we're going to come back to this and see what develops during the next week, and and we'll go over everything that we discussed today and see how it's changed, what new stuff we've learned. But next week we'll have a panel of people, because I think it'll have calmed down a little bit, or hopefully gotten better, which would be even... I think it'd be great. If that happens and we're stuck in the same situation we are today, I'm not going to say stuck, because I'm glad everybody's in the game enjoying the scenario. If I were doing a talk show during the Britain invasion, I'd have to cut people off for bringing them in, because so many people got bored of it so fast. So, what we'll do is we'll have a panel next week. We're going to go over everything we've talked about and see what's changed, what we were wrong about, what we were right about. Yeah, it doesn't. Tio, you got it right. It doesn't matter where you get them from. But the one thing to keep in mind is I believe they are all cursed. And Lady Tiger, I threw all my weapons I got off the Brit invasion away too that I got. I didn't get many, but the ones that I did get, gone. And I didn't even get them. I found them on the ground. People were dropping them because they didn't know what they did, and they weren't anything close to being any good compared to some of the AOS weapons that were out there. So, yeah, mine wound up in trash cans or in old boxes that I sold along with different houses that I had had over the year. There's a question Trollman brings up that I would think I might need to ask before we wrap it up and I start into my announcements today. Are these things looting? Does anybody know? I've only died about 3 times to these, only because, like I said, I'm a jouster when it comes to this stuff. The recruits and the shamans, I'll go up toe to toe with them. That's not a problem on my paladin. But on my necro, Dexter, I'm jousting with them. Okay, so it looks like they are. Okay, so keep that in mind. They are looting. So once again, well, this isn't going to be an issue for most of the people playing production shards. It is going to be if you're trying to conserve insurance money, though. So maybe if you're trying to conserve a little money or your bank box ain't quite as full, think twice about bringing anything important with you. Also bear in mind, you don't know when those berserkers are going to pop up, and we don't have no confirmation that those berserkers are not cursing stuff when they hit you. We've already heard reports of people losing stuff. Now, at this point, I think it's pretty much an assumption that it's a bug. In my wildest dreams, it would be a feature. You come up against a berserker in your, decked out 40 million gold outfit, and it hits you, and it curses a piece of it, you could lose that. Oh man, I can dream. Because then I'd love to be the one to come up and kill the berserker and get that 40 million piece of gorget or whatever. So yeah, they are looting, keep that in mind. The other thing to remember is, for those of you who are using these weapons, you either got to find somebody to kill whatever killed you, or you have to go find another mystic weapon, because it's cursed and it's going to fall onto the corpse. So keep that in mind. All right. Yeah, we've got several confirmations now. Oh, the other idea I came up with that I'm going to probably pull off next week. If I have a panel, I won't be able to do this. Maybe I can get somebody else to do it for me and kind of report for me. But what I thought would be kind of fun is if I'm doing this again, I think I'm going to go into game and sort of run around and test these theories while we're talking about them and see. Maybe I can get some of you guys to come in and join me. We'll pull kind of like a Sandman thing. We'll make it a huge field trip. We'll all go meet on the same shard and do this. And we'll see, whoever's got whatever. If we want to do this wherever you guys want to do it, it's fine by me. Like I said, I'm not going to plan ahead because we're making a lot of changes here over at UORadio, especially to the weekends. And we don't know what's coming up. I don't think next week's going to change much from the usual format. While I'm on that subject, let me remind you, if you're interested in being in the talk shows, you don't have to have any sort of notoriety or anything like that, although we do bring special guests in from week to week. But anybody's welcome. So all you need is a microphone and TeamSpeak, and you can join us. Just be ready to go and help do a mic check with you and the rest of the people. About a half hour prior to when we go on the air, which is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So by 4:30, be in TeamSpeak. I always put the instructions on the homepage of UO Radio for doing that, for getting into the TeamSpeak once you got it installed. It's free, download. It's goteamspeak.com. So when you be there half hour early at least, and we'll do mic checks for all the people who want to be on the panel. And then basically the way the talk shows work normally is you have something to say. We have a system in which gives you kind of a verbal or a virtual way of putting your hand up. So when it's your turn, we'll give you a chance to talk and comment. And everybody, it's town hall style, kind of like the EA meetups, except we're all online together. That makes it possible so we have more people together as well. But everybody's welcome. Everybody. The only rules to these that we've done in the past have been obvious ones. I mean, these are no-brainers. These are rules about being a human being in general in public. Clean language. No insulting each other's opinions. We're all there to discuss it, not fight about it. Debates are good. Vice and I have had a number ourselves. Debates make it interesting. Arguments just make it annoying. Okay, so with that said, let me go ahead and get into some announcements here real quick, because we got a lot of stuff going on, as you've noticed over the last few weeks. Lots of new faces here at UO Radio. Tons. We're now a 24/7 live station. We have DJs on every single hour of the day now. We just welcomed in probably since in last week. I'm going to take a guess at least 3 new DJs and 2 new news reporters. Our news staff is almost full. I mean, it's huge now compared to the way it was about a month ago. Can't give you numbers, but our listener numbers are up pretty huge. But we're making more changes. We expect that to get bigger, especially in the next month or two. You're going to see a lot of changes, some new formatting to some of our programs. As Vampiria has, I would love to say she hinted at it, but no, blatantly came out and said, we are right now talking to different people in the UO community who are actual professional musicians in real life, as a job, or what they do for they play in a band or whatever. We're planning on doing a featured musician show where we have a number of musicians on, a couple, 3 musicians on. They each play live for us on the air and answer questions about their careers. Of course, we'll also talk about their what they do in UO as well. How they got into the game, what chart they play on. Maybe we'll ask them a few opinions about the game. Can't get too much into that because it's not just going to be UO, of course. We'll probably be pulling musicians out of WoW, Second Life. There's just enough musical talent in all these online games that the online community could really appreciate it, and we can bring in, maybe we can get some new listeners for these musicians out there that work really hard. So that's me and DJ Vampiria's little project that we got coming up. Her and I will be co-hosts. Maybe we'll drag Town Drunk in here with his musical expertise as well. Those are tentatively planned for Saturdays. Like I said, we're still interviewing musicians. If you know somebody who's a professional musician that plays right now, that plays UO or in another online game, have them get in touch with us. All of our contact information is on the UO Radio website. Love to talk to them. We've got some musicians in mind right now for the next show, and we will be testing their equipment and talking to them to make sure that they're airwave worthy, so to speak. And we're looking forward. That's just one of the things that we got coming up. You guys have already gotten a good taste of the Deal or No Deal show that's going on. Let me remind you, tonight is it's going to be on the Pacific Shard. Gates will be put up at the banks if you want to go watch it. Tiger was the one who won the drawing to be tonight's participant this week at a shot for 10 million gold. You're welcome to come watch Sandman and his assistant Lady Tiger, not to be confused with the participant Tiger. And they do Deal or No Deal live in-game. It's really interesting to watch, and definitely check it out. What other stuff is going on here? We got so much stuff going on at UORadio right now. So many things going on. All the new DJs. Whew. Been busy here. We've been busy. Very busy. I've got all kinds of talk show ideas coming up. Instead of I'm not going to tell you exactly what we're doing for obvious reasons, because it could not happen. You know, we got a huge staff here of managers and everything that we'd like to discuss stuff with first. Okay. Look through our page here. Let me remind you about a couple things on the UORadio website that are really important here first, because I do have a sheet of announcements that I was looking at, and I put the page away. Okay, I got it back. All right. Something that I've talked about on my own shows, and you've heard the other DJs talk about, and of course, if you listen to UORadio during the day, you've heard Joe Pam in the news talk about it. Let's see here. Yes, for those of you who are not familiar with it, shame on you. No, I'm kidding. The site that we recommend for auctions, UO auctions, not coincidentally, the URL for their site is uo-auction2.com. All the staff over there has announced an upcoming and ongoing contest over there, a chance for 5 million gold, various prizes, and here at UORadio we're also sponsoring a prize for their contests. That prize is going to be once a month. One of the top 3 winners on their monthly contest will be drawn as a participant on the Deal or No Deal game show, meaning they'll get an opportunity for a chance at 10 million gold as well. Now, the advantage of participating in their contest, if you're interested in Deal or No Deal, not only is it an alternative way other than getting in game and handing Sandman a book, but that particular show of the month, the Deal or No Deal, is exclusive for the UO auction winners. So, instead of being drawn from a bowl full of people, that's 100 people show up, we give books to Sandman, you could be one of the 3 winners, and you have a 1 in 3 chance to participate. And it's exclusive. That one game show will only have UOAuction2.com a winner in it. So get over there, register, UOAuction2.com. It's free. It's easy to use. I just started posting stuff on there for sale, and I got a few bids on there just to make sure I knew how to use it. Because I followed their forums for a while, but I've never actually done anything because I've always been poor and never had anything to sell. But I did have some stuff on Sonoma I needed to liquidate. So I've been cleaning house on all my characters, and now have a bunch of stuff over there. It's easy to do. Check it out. The link is right off of our main page, including a link to their rules. Please read their rules. They're not complicated. They're doing nothing but what I call stating the obvious. Don't cheat. Don't post 100 auctions for 1 gold piece each. You're going to get them closed, and you're going to get disqualified. Sorry, as Sandman would say, that's your you're allowed to cough at least every 5 minutes when you're on the air, especially when you're on for 2 hours. So, okay. Another thing to remember is to check out the forums here. That's what I was looking for. That's next on my list. it's going to be very important in the future, in the near future. One of those hints was that I gave you was that we are going to be posting a lot of the news that's going on in not just UO but in the other MMOG radio network games as well. That's going to apply to you. So if you're not one of those people that reads the fan sites, the official fan sites, for whatever reason, but you are a UO radio listener, definitely check out, keep register on our forums first of all. That's really important. And then just follow them. Only because there may be news on there. First of all, if you're an avid UO radio listener, you're going to want to watch them anyways, because we're going to post announcements there on what's going on here. So we may announce that featured musician show, and you were really looking forward to it. If you didn't happen to catch the news that day, or you didn't happen to hear one of the DJs mention it, and Sunday morning you wake up and everybody's talking about how cool it was, you missed it. So try and keep on top of it. That's definitely important. If you do listen all day, we do have people who listen to us all day long, every single day, or at least every day of the weekdays for while they're at work or whatever. One thing that we always ask you, it keeps our forums running, it keeps the radio station running, that sort of thing, is, of course, hit the donation buttons on the right side of the website. I'm going to wrap the show up with that today and make it very clear to you. The only way we can do this stuff is by donations, because everything is not free. Nothing's free. It all costs money, servers, bandwidth, etc. We don't have any guardian angel that donates any of this to us, and it's what keeps the radio station going. So definitely, whatever you can spend. It doesn't have to be $100. It could be $2, whatever. Okay, Sandman's got an announcement for me to read here for you. They're going to pick 3 people at the show who are watching the Deal or No Deal to record a 10-second shout-out that he will play on his show next week. They can say whatever. This is, and then their name, and I'm from such and such shard, and I listen to your radio, and DJ Sandman rocks, or Spiderbite rocks, and hello to my guildmates, such and such. That's just an example. So you're going to get a live spot on the air that Sandman will play during his show. Heck, I'll tell you what. And make a note of this, Sandman. I'll play it on my show, too, during the week. So you got 2 DJs. I'm sure more will kick in, too. So if you show up for the show tonight... Now, let me bring up our DJ schedule. That's another handy-dandy feature of our website. It's right off the main page, DJ Schedules. Pretty intuitive, wasn't it? Yep, Sandman is next. Right following me in about 10 minutes. Okay? 10 minutes. You're going to want to be over on, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sandman, Pacific Shard, correct? I believe it's the Pacific Shard. I tell you what I'm going to do here, since there's about 9-10 minutes left here in this before Sandman goes on, just so you guys can hear all of the stuff going on from our own Joe Pam. I'm going to play the news for you before I sign off for the day. For this week, rather, here on the weekend, what I'm calling this week, I'm calling the Weekend Show with Spiderbite. I'll play the news, the UO Radio news. So, get over to the Pacific Shard. At the banks, they will have gates going to where the location is, where the game show is being held, so you can watch the game. And if you watch the game, 3 people who are watching it will get an option to record a 10-second shout-out. So, be there. If you're just watching, you can have your voice on UO Radio. Somebody out there doing recording labels may listen to you and think you're the next Jessica Simpson. Who knows? All right. With that said, I'm going to sign off, because I think I'm going to go attend the talk show as well. I will talk to you all tomorrow on my normal show at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy what's left of the weekend, And as far as the talk shows go, I'll see you next week.
From Lake Superior, reporting for UORadio, the voice of Society and the soul of Ultima Online. And this is your news for July 28th, Saturday, July 29th, and Sunday, July 30th. In UO, we're all trying to figure out what that note that the Ophidian left, what does it all mean? Can someone tell me? In the developer's corner, Cat had said that for the 5 on Friday questions, they choose the questions that don't always have a projected yes or no answer. And he said, why is there a gray answer? Well, because they can't really tell us much because the schedule changes too often, or maybe they haven't ironed out the details yet. If you have an event you want aired on UO Radio, then send it to news@uoradio.com. And since it is Friday, July 28th, here in the States at least, and you're staying home on a Friday evening, then you might as well go on out and check out one of these events. On Oceania, the Fox Emporium CIGO Casino opens tonight, July 28th at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time until 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. On Catskills, there will be a Friday night hunt, and if you need a way to get there, then you better be at the U Moon Gate at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, because they'll be departing no later than 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a Friday night, and on the Chesapeake Shard, starting in the Paxler City, on the Felucca, there's going to be a fight night. The Duchess is offering a 5 million gold prize for the champion, and 1 million gold for the runner-up. On Sonoma, the PAS Guild is proud to announce that they are opening up a public auction, and the first auction will be tonight, July 28th, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to know what this is all about, then you might as well go on out and check it out. On Pacific, the Dwell Tavern had their opening last week. We will gather around the round table and talk, drink, or whatever else that happens. The tavern is open from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On Lake Superior, there will be an Ilchner Champs Fun on Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time at the Scarebrae Community Center, so you might as well come on down and help. Lake Austin is having their weekly Ice Cove auction tonight, Friday, July 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to see what the longest running auction on Lake Austin is offering, then you might as well be there. On Sonoma, there is a story night on Friday evening, July 28th at the YMCA at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to go there and hear some good stories, then you might as well be there. And finally, for the last event on Friday, Great Lakes is having a Friday night, fun night, at the Royal Oaks Tavern starting at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday evening, well, you might as well come on down to one of these events. On Great Lakes, there's going to be the Chicken Fight Club in Malice somewhere at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and the gates are starting from the West Burton Bank at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Is anyone thirsty? Well, I know I am, because on Great Lakes, the Outcast Tavern is serving drinks, and I have no idea what this is all about, so you'll just have to go on there and find out what it is. This is Saturday, July 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Alright, finally for Sunday's news, there's only a short number of events. Oceania is having the Masquerade Ball in the Noomjum Palace at 5:30 a.m. until 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, and they do ask that you just formally. If you play on Lake Superior, then you might want to come down to the Scarebrae Community Center at 3 p.m. Eastern Time to discuss the plans about the Lake Superior Summerfest. This is Sunday, July 30th. Finally, in UO Radio News. If anyone is interested in becoming a news reporter, then you can fill out an application. So if you've heard about the UOA Auction 2 and the UO Radio Contest, well, all what you have to do is do between 25 and 50 actions to be entered into the 5 million gold. Also, if you win the 5 million winning gold, your name is placed into the drawing of the UORadio Deal or No Deal. And the 25 actions must be done at UOauctions2.com. Alright, I'm finished with the weekend, so I'm going to go on out and enjoy my weekend. So y'all have a good evening, and this has been Joe Pam from Lake Superior, reporting for UORadio, the voice of Sataria, and the soul of Ultima Online.